am back today talking about a modern day Dissipator rifle. This one is from KAK Industries, and on top of just going over this, I've got some discount codes to save some money on this setup, as well as a ton of other things from KAK, which we'll talk about in a second. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what a Dissipator rifle is, we're going to be going over a brief history and what it's about. But before we do, I want to give a huge shout out to Callaway Ballistics for sponsoring the ammo to help make this video. These guys sent over the 223 as well as a coupon code 704 Tactical for 5% off and free shipping on orders over $200. And they just did restocks. They also have very affordable 9, hollow point 9, subsonic 9, subsonic 300 blackout, and 4570. So definitely take a look at these guys and don't forget that code. It's valid on everything on their site. Now let's dig back into the modern 2024 Dissipator rifle. Now, to talk about that history, a Dissipator rifle essentially is a 16-inch barrel with a rifle-length gas system, and it gets its roots from the classic M16, either lopping off the end of that 20-inch barrel and maintaining the rifle-length gas system, or kind of imagining extending a gas system on a traditional M4. Either way, you still get a very long sight radius with a traditional A2 front sight post and very long handguards, but a very light recoiling rifle. Now, it's got its advantages and disadvantages, and we're going to be talking about that. But in this case, what we have is a full 16-inch barrel surrounded by an M-LOK rail system, but as you can see all the way out at the end, a rifle-length gas system. There's not a lot of companies making a setup like this. And one, it's not very popular. A lot of guys like the mid-length gas system. It's kind of a jack-of-all-trades gas system. But a setup like this allows you to have a very light recoiling rifle, which is great for competitive shooting. It's also great for just range shooting in general, or if you're adding a quiet device on the end that increases back pressure. So there's a lot of advantages to running something like this. And we're going to start by talking about the specs and features and then the performance of this rifle throughout the kind of overview. So let's start with the front. And the first thing I want to mention is this comes with a standard A2 birdcage flash hider attached to 1/2x28 threads on a 16-inch barrel. Now, this is nice because you can actually swap out that muzzle device with whatever you want, because KAK Industry is actually known for a ton of different pin and weld options if you felt like getting something even shorter. And I also have a code with these guys, 704 Tactical for 10% off. So even if you don't like something on this build, but maybe you do like the lower or the rail system or the concept of this upper and its reliability, but just in a different barrel length, go check out their site. All of the information will be on the campsite page. And again, that code is going to save you 10% off pretty much everything on their site. Now the MSRP on this complete upper assembly with BCG and charging handle is right at $459. So it's actually very affordable, especially with what you're getting, and especially the fact that this is a modern day Dissipator. Now, after the code, it comes out to be about a little over $400 after the 10% discount. And you can actually do the K-Spec BCG upgrade, which this one has. But I've also run this particular upper assembly with a traditional BCG from KAK, and they work great. If you're trying to save a little bit of money, just go with the standard BCG. If you want something just a little bit more interesting, a little bit more reliable over long periods of time, you can go with the other KAK BCG. But honestly, I've never had anyone fail on me, and I've been running a lot of the KAK upper assemblies lately. Now, getting back to the actual setup itself, the barrel is surrounded by a 15-inch M-LOK rail system. And this is a nice setup because it gives you M-LOK all the way to the end, everywhere you need it, even on the 45-degree offsets. But it stops short of the barrel so you can easily swap out muzzle devices. Now, that is surrounding that gas system, which we'll talk about in a second. But as you move back to the rear of the rifle itself, you can see there's anti-rotation tabs on the rail system, preventing this from shifting, and this solid lockup. I've never had any of the KAK rail systems walk loose, and they've done an amazing job. Now, this does not have QD slots built into the rail system, and I would like to see that, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal because they sell M-LOK attachments that have QD slots, and you can literally put them wherever you want, especially when you're considering you have everything at those 45s. I mean, this is a very impressive rail system, especially for the money, and I love what they've done with it. It even has that monolithic pick rail at the top, which I love to attach pressure switches and things like that, and maybe IR, night vision stuff on the top of it, so it's a great rail system. Now, getting back to the upper receiver itself, it's a traditional mil-spec upper. You can look all the detailed specs and features for the BCGs, whether it be the traditional or the K-spec, over on their site, but just know it's been running great. There's been absolutely no issues with any of the KAK Industries rifles or lowers or uppers that I've ever tried, and they just work. I don't know how else to describe it. They do a very good job of making a lot of reliable components at affordable prices. In fact, these guys are an OEM for a lot of other manufacturers that you don't know about. So they've been doing it for a while. They're just really promoting their own stuff now through their site. And I think it's a great opportunity to save a little bit of money, cut out that middleman, and go direct with these guys. And they also have a lot of different lower components that you can buy independently and utilize those in different upcoming builds. Now, the KAK lower on this is great. I actually swapped out the grip, but you can get billet lowers right now complete for $135 after my discount code. And that's another reason why I wanted to make this video, is because that is probably one of the best lower options you can get right now. They sell for generally about $229. I believe they're on sale for $150, and after my discount code, they are $135 for a complete billet lower. I've been buying a lot of those lately as a base for a ton of other builds, and those have been working great, so it makes sense to pair this with the upper assembly. Now, I do want to give a huge shout out to KAK Industries. I've been buying a lot of their lowers, but they did send this particular upper out to the channel at my request because I wanted to try it. Now let's talk about actual function and usability down at the range. The recoil impulse on this rifle was almost non-existent, and that translates to practical applications, whether you're defending your life, competitive shooting, or range shooting. Let's just start off with range shooting. It's a joy to shoot. It's not going to beat you up. If you got newer shooters learning the platform, it's great because it's not going to beat them up either, and it's very controllable. The next thing would be for competitive shooting. You can easily transition from target to target, keep your shots on target, and do follow-up shots at a distance because you're not jarring around with heavy recoil. The next thing would be personal defense and different style shootings when it comes to maybe hunting applications. The cool thing about this, again, is you can see in the intro, I'm shooting around barriers, over the top of a vehicle, in awkward shooting positions where I may not have my feet planted correctly, but the recoil impulse is almost non-existent, so it's not going to shove you around, and you can maintain accuracy as you're dumping rounds on target, which is key. The last point I want to make about having something like this is the fact that you can't add that quiet device on the end of that increases the back pressure, and you still only move the ejection pattern to 2 or 3 o'clock, and the ejection pattern on this guy is right at 4 o'clock. So it is a perfectly gassed rifle for a wide variety of applications, and this is nowhere near under-gassed. It will work with lower pressure ammo, steel-cased ammo, no problems whatsoever. So in summary, this modern 2024 Dissipator rifle is absolutely awesome. If you've never shot one, it's definitely a different experience than shooting a carbine-length gas system or even a mid-length gas system. Again, not a lot of companies are doing this. I think it may take off, especially after companies like KAK are kind of bringing it back. Now, a ton of other companies in the past have done Dissipator rifles with the handguards and A2 front sight post, but this is more of a modern application with an M-LOK rail system that you can really use in a wide variety of situations. And I love the concept, and I also love KAK. Again, all of my favorites will be over on the campsite page. And don't forget that code 704TACTICAL to save you 10% off KAK, as well as 5% in free shipping on Callaway Ballistics. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.